Hi, I'm Manic, and today I want to show you how you can import models from Blender to Maya. This actually works for other software such as, I don't know, Cinema 4D and 3D Max. There is a little bit of difference maybe for when you want to export your model, but it's kinda the same. So first, we all know that Maya can't read Blender files. So what we have to do is to export our model to a format that Maya can read the file or can handle it. So we'll go here to File, then Export. There are many different options we have here. The best one is FBX. It will export the mesh curves. I think the curves are actually included, I'm not sure. The rig and the animation. But you have to always click on the animation export if you want to export the animation as well. There is also other formats that Maya can handle, such as DAE, which I don't. Yeah, it's here. DAE, which I don't recommend that much. Sometimes it has some weird glitches. There's also OBJ, which OBJ doesn't export the rig, so for example, if you have a rigged character, you shouldn't use OBJ, you should use FBX. You can use, for example, GLTF, which you need to have the plugin for it in Maya to be able to work with it. But Maya doesn't have GLTF importer by itself. Also there is UST as well, which I don't recommend that much. It's not. It's like what DAE does. It's not that great for exporting characters, especially. But for example, for exporting a scene and stuff, it's great. Maya has some special tools for UST which can really help you. But that's a story for another time. Okay, so I will export my model as FBX. I want all of everything that is in my scene to be exported as the FBX file. So I won't check the selected objects option. I won't select it because I want everything here to be in the file. So I'll go into the path that I want. Glamrock ready enter. And we have a .fpx after it, export fpx. We'll wait for a few seconds and it's exported. Then we will close Blender because we don't really need anything from Blender. We'll close it. I would say don't save. We go to Maya, then a new file. Don't save. So, what can I say? At first, we have to import our model. We'll go to File, Import. Then we would have to go to the same path as we were saving the, FX file. I'll just paste the path here. It's Glamour. Oh, it's this one. Work ready. The FX. There are different options you can check, but I myself don't really uncheck or check them all. For example, group will group everything that is imported into one group. Then remove duplicate the shading networks. It will if you remove stuff like the materials that are duplicated, I think, or textures and stuff. Merge base animation layers. There are the animation layers which Blender doesn't have. This is, I think, 3D Max has and stuff. I'm not sure. Yeah. Then there is referencing options. Load save reference, load distance. You can check these and stuff, but I don't really change any of these. Yeah. So we will just import them. Import the model we want. So it will take a few seconds. And here it is. So there are a few things that I should point out. Let me just click on this so we can see it in X-ray mode. The bones in X-ray mode. The rig looks weird, let's say. So at first, you would have to go to, what I do usually is to go to select, then all by type, joints. You can also add it in your custom shelf. You can go here, in your custom shelf, and go to select, all by type. Use Control and Shift, and then joint. It will add it here. And every time you click on it, it will select every joint you have. So why did I do that? It's because the joint sizes are not okay here. Well, radius is what I mean. They are random and they're not consistent. I will make it 1, and that works for me. You might make it less, you might make it more. It really depends on you or the scene size. Then sorry about that. What you have to do is, well, if the size was not okay for you, you would change the size. Which I'll just make it a bit smaller. I clicked on here, outliner, which our objects are all here, and then I clicked on the armature, which has all the bones in it. Also something to mention, if you guys haven't used Maya before, if you select the the mesh that are attached to the rig, it won't go that great. For example, though it's not happening here, but it has some errors usually, that the mesh would be scaled 2 times more. It didn't happen because the scale is locked. So what do I have to do now? At first, Blender has this thing, about the IKs that it has, that you have to put one bone in front of it and stuff. Maya doesn't use that method for IK, so we have to select these bones here, or joints, as we call it in Maya, and delete them with the delete button. Sorry. Let's just, before we continue, save the file. Control S for save, of course. We will go back to where we were. Here it is. Glamrock Freddy FX port. I don't need these bones, they don't do anything. Actually, wait, let's just check that for a second. Yeah, they don't do anything. Then there are some extra bones that Blender have made, so we have to get rid of those. Okay. I don't know why they have made these bones here, but it's so weird. Because the first time I imported the model, this didn't happen, but yeah, just look around, look for the, bones that don't really have any purpose, and remove them, of course. For example, I think this one is one of them as well. So, this sometimes happens. I don't know why it happened this time, but yeah. So, now, what do we have to do? It's time for the materials. It's just white. So, at first we would click on the mesh, then we would go to attribute editor, which you can actually open with Control A as well. Then we would scroll and we'll come here. It's the main body material. If I make the transparency less, it will be like, you know, it will show it to us. Well, the main material usually when you import a model from another software to Maya is Fonge, but we don't want that. Fonge material is horrible. It's like source filmmaker material or something. We'll click on this Fonge here, then we will scroll up. There are many like material types you can choose. For example, I use a V-Ray plugin, which is a really nice plugin for rendering because it uses like CPU more and stuff, which I don't have a graphic card. That's why I like it. So you can click on this V-Ray MTL. Or if you are not sure what render engine you want to use, render plugin or engine, or you want to use Arnold, Maya's default render engine, you would go to, I think it was standard surface. You can click on this one. This works for every single render engine in Maya, but it has some of its problems, but it doesn't really matter. So I will click on this standard surface, and sometimes it might show you some errors, but like it's just random. It's nothing affected. It's not affecting your scene or anything like that. So here is our material. Well, first we have the color and the weight on it. The weight is like how much color it will like have. If the weight is 0, it will be black. If the weight is 1, it will have the colors that you have chosen. You will click on this, you can change the colors. The hue is the first bar, the second one is the saturation, and the last bar is the brightness, which you can actually control from here as well. But, we don't want just a random color on this character. So we would click on this. This is for textures and nodes that you can add. We can also use Hypershade to do this, but I don't need it. We don't really need it. I don't need those. I can just actually no, it's the second one. But like, yeah, as I said, I don't want to use Hypershade. It's the shading tab of Maya, but like because I don't need it, I won't use it. I will just click on this, and here are some nodes that we can add. We can add these ones as well, but we have these selected. These are the textures that are usually used by people. They're the most useful ones. We're gonna add a file, a normal file. We would go here, click on the file location part. We would choose our path. Where is it? Textures. No, actually, it was this one. And we would choose the texture we want. But, actually, wait, let me just say this as well at first. Let's just do this part. We would just try to find the material that is made for this, mesh part, which is his body, which it should be here. Here it is. Oh, also, now we can't see any textures, it's just a blank gray color. So how can you view textures? You have to click on this. Here is the texture. And, well, the thing that some of you might notice is that it's so dark. Sometimes some materials are made for raw imports and some are made for sRGB. Maya usually imports them with sRGB, but we want them as raw. Here it is. You might want this version of the material. So what's the next? It's that, well, of course we are just seeing the materials like this, but what if we want to see them in render? So you know, we would add a specular and stuff like that, and we will see how they are affected in a like an actual render engine. So as I said, I use V-Ray to render, but I'm sure most of you use Arnold. But like, yeah, Arnold is on by default. If it's not, then you have to go to here, render settings, Arnold renderer. You can turn on the IPR, which Arnold uses graphic cards a lot, but you know, as I said, I don't really own a graphic card. So here in our scene we don't have any lights. So where can we go? Rendering, or this, where is it? Arnold shelf. At first I usually add a like a skylight. This is our skylight, a sky dome light. The materials look so janky with them. I'll, as my skylight is selected, I'll just go here and make the brightness a bit less. For example, this is good. Then I would add another light. These are the mesh lights, area lights and stuff. I don't want these. I'll go to rendering. I'm not a big fan of Arnold. If you want V-Ray, you can join in my server. And also I think I would put a link in the description of how you can get V-Ray. Please check that out. But yeah, let me just click on a spotlight. I'll just use Arnold for now because, as I said, I'm sure most of you will use Arnold because, you know, it's Maya's main render engine, which is horrible in my opinion. Angle. I'll make the density. Okay, look, don't use Arnold, that's all I'm gonna say. It's horrible, it's slow and it doesn't work right. If you want to use V-Ray, okay, let's talk about V-Ray actually. A standard surface works in V-Ray, but I'm not a big fan of how it looks. It doesn't look as good as the V-Ray's main material, V-Ray MTL. Let's see, V-Ray MTL, it's here. Let's change it to that. Now the texture is gone. Great. But how can we get it back? We will go here, right click, and we will uncheck show the AG objects only. If you scroll down, there is like the file 1, which is the file that we just imported, and it was his you know, body material. Also, if you want to use V-Ray, I think sRGB is better to use for your base color textures. We would choose the body again, we would scroll here, then we would go here. This is the diffuse color is the main colors and stuff. And the amount is like the rate that we talked about. Anyways, I will use a middle mouse, I will hold it, and I will grab it and put it here to the name. And here it is. This is our material on the model. So we are gonna do a bit lighting on it. So I really recommend you guys to use V-Ray's shelves lights. You can click on this to start the V-Ray viewport IPR. It's a live render thing. It's not real-time render, it's like IPR. it just works as you are working. I'll make it less bright. Also, you can see his eyes worked in Arnold, but they didn't work quite right in. They doesn't work quite right in. But it doesn't work quite right in V-Ray. It's because it was a sponge material. Sponge materials are not that good for V-Ray. They won't work right. I can just put. I don't know. I will just put this. I will scroll down and go to options. Here I will make it invisible. I will duplicate it with Control D, and Control C and Control V works in Maya as well, but it's a bit different. Control CV will copy everything that an object has, every notes and everything. But Control D will just copy what it is. I know it doesn't sound right, but what I mean is that, for example, you have some, let's say, your model has some history and data on itself. But when you do Control V, it will just copy and paste what it is, just the base form of it. Which I usually do that for stuff like lights or normal objects. But if it's rigged, you should Control C, Control V and stuff like that. Yeah. I'll just use directional. I will make it more directional because ring lights are usually more directional lights. This is the light. I will go here, light color, change the color a bit. I think this is okay. Also, sometimes when you turn your materials into V-Ray, there are some weird stuff happening to them. The default should be something like this. This. For me, there is something I've changed is in the sheen. Sheen is not what I want. Sheen is usually made for stuff like such as cloth and stuff like that. Not for metal. So what we want to do now is to talk about these materials. Amount we talked about, it's how much the texture or the color affects the material. Also, if you do the select, it won't have any selection bars and stuff, it will select the material itself. Then there is the opacity map, which of course it's the opacity, it's the transparency of the object. Which maximum, I can't even read that. And the clip, these are the different opacity modes that you can use, but we don't need that for now. I'm just going to talk about some basic stuff of materials. I will hopefully upload a full video about how to work with V-Ray materials. Okay, next thing I'm going to talk about is self-illumination. It's the emission, as you call it in Blender. It's the light that an object will make by itself. And then there is the reflection color. In the reflection, or it's the specular. For this kind of character, it's to 100, of course. There is the amount, which will say how much reflection color will work. Then it's the reflection glossiness. Glossiness is like inverted roughness, I guess. Roughness, if it's more, it will be like rougher, it will be like the specular will be more blurred out. But when it's less, it will be more sharp. But glossiness is different, it's backwards. I will make it less, and the specular now is even like, how can I say it? It's more blur, but it's sharper. You can use roughness and make it like how roughness works, you can see the name even changed to roughness. It's not glossiness anymore. You can see. This is usually important if you have a reflection or a specular roughness, file, texture file. I mean, let me just go to the textures. Not this one. This one. I'm just gonna check what textures I have here. So, for his body material, which is text glamour Freddy base color. This is for his color actually. There are the Freddy collision, which we don't need because render engine, animation render engines will usually put embedded collision by themselves. You don't need a texture for it. Then there is the actually I will talk about how to attach these embedded collision files to your model for V-Ray, but not in this video. Then there is the text glamour Freddy roughness. It's what I need here, which I will check roughness, use roughness because that's what we need. I'll go to textures. I can't grab it. I forgot. I'll go to Maya, and I think there was a way to just import an image. I'm not sure. No, it's not. I will go here. Use this file. I'll go here. Also, there is one way of just not clicking on this and having your texture here. It's to go here, right click copy or Control C, then go to here, then click on this part, Control V. But when you do that, you have to go here. There is a file, like double dot thing, and 3 slashes. Delete this part and just let the first word be the driver you use, and click on enter. It's been attached. And if I click on this, select on the texture, and then click on this, it shows that this is how the roughness is loaded. This will show the texture itself. Then we have to talk about use fragile. Use fragile is a bit different. I will talk about it later in another video again. As I said, I'm not gonna talk a lot about materials in this video. There's the Metallis, which, Metallis, which I don't think I need it for this character. I will just give it a little bit. Oh, also, you have been noticing we have noise and stuff. The noise is this much because my PC is horrible. I'm sure your PC is working way better than mine. If I click on this is the denoise option. The render engine will be reloaded, and now we have no noise. But remember, if your model has details, for example, let's say you're gonna import a withered, well, not just import, just render a withered or a scrapped kind of material, the details won't be shown as that great. They will be blurred out. I don't think I have any examples for that here. But yeah. What's the next? Oh, also, if you go down there, there is a thin film which I don't talk about. There is this anisotropy. I've never read that word, but I have used it a lot. If you make it more, it won't work because you need your material to be blurred out. And I don't like the roughness that this model has, so I'll just break the connection. I'll make this a bit blur. And if you see 0, it's not doing anything, but if I bring it 1, it's like it's stretched, which I use that sometimes on some kind of materials. Like, for example, let's say his shoulders have that red material. I will usually turn these kind of stuff on these kind of materials. Or there's also this, which will stretch it in a y-axis. That one was x, this one is y. Which I prefer this. I will also don't make it too much. Just make it like, I don't know, around up here is good. Then there is the rotation of it. You can make it a bit rotated around, which I don't use. There are other options I will talk about in another video. I won't talk about this one, not that one. There's also the coat, which I sometimes turn that on for plastic kind of materials or materials that reflect the stuff and have another kind of, you know, surface on themselves. For example, let's say I'll make this even more blur. But this code, let's just play around with these. There's something special about it that I don't know how to talk about it. I will talk about it later in another video, but I sometimes do that with this kind of materials. Then we have coat roughness, IOR, stuff like that. We won't talk about those. Sheen, as I said, is for like, how can I say, for cloth and fabric kind of materials. Then there is bump and normal mapping. I will just go here. Actually I won't, but like, yeah. This is the map that you're going to add. If we just do this, it won't change anything, of course. If you click on this, we have bump map, normal mapping, tangent, space, and these, which I don't recommend using these last three ones. I recommend using these two. If you don't know what they do, bump map is usually a black and white texture that is used to show some fake details. Normal mapping, tangent, space kind of do the same, but it changes the way lights will be landed on the model. So I'll just have it as bump map because I don't have any normal map, because normal maps are special maps that are purple-ish. For example, these are normal maps. But like, wait, I have a normal map for this body part, I think. Let's just see. This model is not mine, of course. It's Steel Rules, so I don't know. Yeah, this is for that, but like, I don't think it's that useful. I'll just import. Oh, actually, we don't need that. Like, yeah, you will just click on this, go file. We don't have any bump map textures, so we'll just click on this. Oh, actually, no, let me just touch on it. I will copy the normal map. You can use normal maps as bump maps, but you can use bump maps as normal maps, because the color is really important for normal maps. I'll just do this. I remove this part. Enter. Well, it doesn't work because there isn't much detail in the normal maps and stuff for here, except I think this part. Yeah. There isn't really that much stuff. But you should know something, that when you want to turn this into normal map, this weird thing might happen. For some reason, V-Ray Maya has this weird thing that will, like, it won't load correctly. You can see this part, for example. It's weird. It's nothing you can be like, you should be afraid of and stuff. You can just go here. You will just open the texture file you just imported. You'll go here, go to Utility and Raw. For some reason, you have to do this manually. I don't know why they haven't fixed this one, but yeah, you have to turn this into a raw file, and then it will work correctly. And well, what do I have to say now? There isn't actually much detail in the normal map that we have right now. If I make it 0, I think it's the same. It's because of the model itself. It doesn't have that much detail. You can, like, literally just see. There are just some details here and there. Nothing in this part. So, let's just do a bit more of materialing. I'll go here again, then click on the punch, then I will go and click on Vary MTL. Then I would, also, when you turn your material on Vary MTL, it sometimes have the texture file on, but the textures still doesn't work because the path is incomplete. Like it says model grammar ready. There isn't anything about like eDriver and stuff like that. So how can we fix that? We can just go here and replace the path with the new file we have. Not new, but like the file we had. But there is an easier way for multiple texture files to but there is multiple ways. No. But there is a way to attach multiple textures but there is a way to attach multiple file paths, for example texture paths as I mean, to one folder. For example, I have the texture, material, body material and all of that in one folder, or like a folder that is inside another folder. I can put them, attach them all at once to where they have to be. For that we have to go to Windows, and I think it was in General Editors and File Path Editor. Here we can see this is ticked. This is the file that we just attached for his body, but this one is red. We'll click on this one and it will select all of those. It's selecting these. Then we will say repath files. We would go browse, then we have to find the folder that we have our textures in. For example here, this is where I have my textures at. You know, this is exactly just here. I will just say set, and then I would say you can go and say preview, for example. It says here to be solved 4 nodes remaining unsolved, 0 nodes. That means all of the folder, all of the textures are in this folder. So just say continue, and here it is. His textures are loaded. All of his textures are. And yeah. Well, also some of you might get a bit low FPS. I just want to talk about something about using Maya. Your PC might be a bit, you know, weak like mine. You have to go to Windows. Always check this, please. Preferences, settings, preferences, and the preferences. Go to display. Turn this into DirectX 11. This works way better than OpenGL for weak computers like mine. Then I don't know, there isn't much actually. I'll just go. I usually will turn this. No, not that one. I will turn this one on. It will have flat materials, which will remind you of Source Filmmaker a lot for sure. But yeah, I will do this because I will have most of the time I will have maximum FPS with this kind of material preview. I'll just turn this off. Okay, now we have like most of the things imported. Let's do a bit of like emission stuff. We'll click on self-illumination texture. We'll go here, scroll down, we'll go to ramp. It will attach a ramp kind of texture to it. Go here, circular, which the UV map is not in the center. So what do we have to do? I want these circles inside these black bars. I will go here, place 2D texture. There are many settings you can do. There are like how much it will repeat, how much it will go this way, that way. There is the fast is what I want. I'm holding Control and left click and move it around to change this number. Here. This is good enough. But then, for example, what I want to do about that, with that, I mean, this is the emission. And if you go to render, it's making a bit of light. It's not as brightened as we want. We will make the white even brighter. We'll go here in the value 100. And here. Also, yeah, in Blender, you have another part for how much the emission will be brightened, but in Maya, your colors are how much brightened the emission is. I want to add. I will just click on here, and it will add another ramp texture, a ramp slider. I'll make this one right. This one here. I want this to here, I think. I want to make this one blue, so it will be like making blue lights out of it. You can do this. You can. I'm just playing it around and showing you some of this stuff. I think I'm gonna upload a video about how to use Maya for beginners and stuff. Not a video, a series of video, but I guess this is one part of that. But yeah, we have the materials set in. So now what do we have to do? The rig is working great, but some of you might want to add IK to your model. At first, there's something about Blender again. It will add those. Also, before you do anything, if you want to change the pose and stuff like that, always click on the first time you're rigging something, or you just imported a rig. Click on these bones, and if you want to make changes to the rig, go to here, and I don't think you guys actually have this. Let's go to your rigging, and we'll go to skeleton, and set prefer angle. It will put these as the main pose for the bones or the joints. For example, if I don't know, just move these around. I don't know. I'll just click on skeleton and assume preferred angle. And wait for a second. Wait, what? Oh yeah, I have to sorry. You have to select it again. Select the whole bone. The bone that's every other bone is inside of it, and you have to have this hierarchy on actually. So don't forget that. Assume. It will be reset, and it's T-posing again. So I want to add IK to this model. How can I? At first, I want to remove this extra bone here. I'm lagging a bit. It's because I have Premiere Pro on. Sorry. I'll just select these. Then, as I said, you can use Control and Shift and then click on the option you want and bring it here. I have done that for this. It's here. And then I would, let's say, what are these ones? Okay, so now for IK. We have this in the rigging shelf. We'll click on it, then we'll click here, then here. Now, if we move it around, oh, it's working like an IK. And we don't really have to do add another bone and stuff. But if you want to change how much it will be rotated, there is this pole vector which you can change, and this is not the main way of how people do it. So just know that there is another way that always people use in Maya. It's to add some shapes, some objects to control the way it's rotating, which is an easy thing, but I have to make a video about it. I won't talk about it in this video, but you know, it's working in this right now. Also, some of the models might have a bit of problem with the way they're rotated, as you know, with IK. All you have to do, I'm just saying it, is to go here, move the leg a bit forward, or you know, if you don't want the mesh to be changed, you have to, while you move it around, you have to go to, I think, a skin, and where is it? Move a skin joint, just move it a bit forward, and then add the IK. Then it will be like rotating where you want. For example, let me just rotating as the main angle of what you want. For example, let's do this. Where's the option again? Here. I'll just do this. I want his leg, for example, to be rotated this way. So I will move it this here. Then I would attach IK. Then oh, it's moving this way. The default way of rotating the legs or the arms, as for the IK, is really important, because when you want to attach like something to control it, it might get a little bit affected by, you know, the angle of it. But you know, this model was okay, so I don't have to really talk about anything here. Also, this might happen sometimes if you just click on this again. Move things around. I think that should be okay, yeah. Yeah, I guess this is all I have to say about how to import your models into Maya. I haven't talked a lot about materials and stuff like that, which, as I said, I will talk about all of these stuff in other videos, which I will upload soon. But yeah, so yeah, see you all in another video. Have a good time.